is going to be the ear. We're going to break this up into external ear, middle ear, and then inner ear. So external ear, we're going to talk about the auricle or the pinna. This is what you see on the outside and what you can get pierced, right? So it's the auricle, so the elastic cartilage covered with skin, right? Next is going to be the external acoustic meatus. So remember, so if this is the external acoustic meatus, what bone is this going to be? Right, this is going to be the temporal bone, right? That was one of the structures that we learned with the external acoustic meatus. So you stick your Q-tip too far, you're sticking it into the external acoustic meatus, okay? All right, so that's going to be leading up to this little membrane right here. It's a little bit of a drum. This is the tympanic membrane. Go ahead and take that out. All right, just move it out a little bit so you can see it. All right, so that's going to be the tympanic membrane. Peasants call this your eardrum. Okay. All right. So that separates the external, the ear. So that's all the external ear. Okay. Middle ear. All right, we talked about ear ossicles before, so very, very, very tiny bones. This is obviously an enlarged model. All right, so we have the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. So right next to tympanic membrane. So here we can see the malleus, like a mallet, like a hammer. This looks like Bam Bam's club. Okay. The incus, right, flip it over, kind of looks a little bit like an anvil. Right, so incus is for anvil. So malleus and incus, put that back in. And that leaves us with the stapes. Okay. So if I come on this side a little bit, you can see this little stirrup-like structure is what stapes means. Right, so that's a stapes. So those are the ear ossicles. All right. We also have the pharyngeotympanic tube. Okay, so so this is also called the Eustachian tube. So that's this guy right here. So the pharyngeotympanic or Eustachian tube. This is to ventilate the middle ear space, making sure that pressure remains at or near air pressure. So this is what happens. So it's equalizing. If you've ever been in a plane and you've increased altitude and your ears do that pop sound, that is your Eustachian tube equalizing pressure in your ear. Okay. Right. So moving on to the internal ear, this is all going to be bony labyrinth. So this whole mess that we got going up here. All right, so what's going on up here? We have the cochlea, right? It's this little snail shell like structure. So the cochlea is going to transform vibrations of the vestibular fluid into a neural signal. We get these little tiny hair cell sensory receptors that are inside of it. So when that fluid moves based on the vibrations from the sound waves from the tympanic membrane to the ear ossicles, moving the fluid inside of the cochlea, which is going to move those hair cells in a particular direction that we can then interpret via cranial nerve number 8, the vestibular cochlear nerve. So we can interpret that sound from the inner ear to the brain. Okay, so that's pretty incredible if you think about it. All right. We also have, so these weird structures going on here, lots of tubes, right? So these are the semicircular canals. Not only is this structure, this area responsible for sound, but it's also responsible for balance as well. Okay, these are 3 tiny fluid-filled tubes. All right, so they're filled with a fluid called endolymph in your inner ear. This helps you keep your balance. All right, so when your head moves, the fluid inside of the semicircular canals move. All right, and they also have little tiny hair cells that line each of these canals. Okay, and because they are orthogonal to each other means they're all at right angles to each other, so 90-degree angles to each other. Your body can get input on angular acceleration and rotation. Okay, so these guys are pretty cool as well. Right. And we can also interpret that information through the vestibular cochlear the nerve, right, transmitting that balance, equilibrium information from inner ear to the brain. Okay. Yep, and I think that's it. I think we're good to go. So that's the ear.